Cool. Well, I'll go on to question number 2. So this is from We Are Troubadour via Instagram, and they've asked, what's the one thing you know that's had the most impact on sales for a show?
And this is a really interesting question, and the reason is not because I've got a really good answer for this, but the interesting thing for me is this is something that crops up all of the time in business and and with the questions that we have. Is if I said to you, for example, I'm going to the gym, what's the one exercise that I can do to get ripped? Then you go, well, there's one exercise that you can do for your arms, but like, what about your back? What about your shoulders? What about your legs? What about your core? All of that other stuff. And then, you know, one thing is very, very difficult. So is there one thing? It would probably depend on different bands because everyone's got different skill sets and different facilities available to them. But for me, what's interesting is I think people are usually interested in the one thing. They're usually just saying, what's the one thing I could do to improve this? Which, whilst it's a good question, the one thing that you can do to impact your sales is figure out the shittest part you've got and fix it. It's everything to me. So, you know, when it comes to for a show, how you're going to get people to your show, if I was going to give you an answer of the one thing, I would say bands don't work on the one-to-one. That would be my answer. However, that would be the same thing as if I said, how do I get ripped when I go to the gym? And someone says, well, your eating is the first thing to sort out. You're still not going to get ripped, but at the same point, that's the one consistent answer. I think with this, if I was going to say what one thing, it would be the one-to-one. So what happens is people say to everybody, I'm doing a show, who wants to come to my show? And out of the 1,000 people that they've got on their audience, 10 people will say yes. And then they're like, well, I've got 1,000 people and only 10 people are coming. That's not enough people. Whereas you could probably get 50 people if you actually went about it in a different way. If you actually phoned Jim and just went, Jim, we've got a show next Wednesday. What are you doing? I want you to come down. Jim would probably go, yeah, I'm free actually, I'll come down. But if Jim just sees it on a random Facebook post, he just goes, oh, I might do, I might not. So for me, the one-to-one, I think the one-to-one is now so important in business. I think it's so important in social media. And I think it's the most underused, underrated tool in social media because social media has become this thing where people think it's advertising and marketing. Social media is the entire thing. It's the whole fucking package. It's how you learn about your business. It's how you learn about your audience. It's how you bring value to your customers. It's how you give. It's how you sell. It's how you customer service. It's the whole thing. And it's not just an advertising board, which is what people tend to think of it. It's like that. If you want an advertising board, just go and buy a bus stop or just go and buy an advert on a bus stop so people walking past it. And that's what people are seeing. How many of you guys remember when you went for a walk today past a bus stop and you saw an advert? How many of you guys can remember what the advert was? I can't remember at all. It was there and it probably went in, but that's brand building, but it didn't make me go, oh, I have to go and buy this. And that's what people are using social media for. They're just saying, I'm scrolling, and there's an advert for something. I didn't really see it because I'm not paying attention, because our brain tunes out. Because you have to remember, when it comes to brand awareness and when it comes to advertising and marketing, we are literally surrounded by household names. The camera is a Sony camera. The laptop is a Mac laptop. The mug has been brought to you by the working man. There's 15 different bands behind us. And that's just in this shot. Like right now, my t-shirt, my jeans, your clothes, like everything is just a brand. So our brains have gone, I can't take all that information. So we just block it all out and we don't really see it. So we just go a t-shirt, some jeans, a pair of shoes. It goes in a little bit. But if you actually go on the one-to-one and you actually get in touch with all of your audience who live in that area and just say, what are you doing next Wednesday? I really, really want you to come down to this show. You haven't seen us for a while. I think we've improved. I think we'd have a great night together. Come down, just come down and see us play and let's have a drink afterwards. I think you'd get 3 times the amount of people. So if I was going to look at one thing, it would be that. However, I also think, that one thing is is a dangerous game. I think we should be looking at what many things could we do, because as soon as that's out, what's the second thing? Well, the second thing is, what are you doing on your show that's different so that someone who's seen you before is actually got a reason to come? That in itself is something that could bring you a shit ton more people to your shows. But if we're only going for the one thing, that's out of the window. So, you know, what are we doing on the merch stand? What new songs are we playing? You know, what are we bringing to people that's going to change their night so they go, oh, that's really, really good. You know, those, there's loads of them. There's 10 of them, there's 20 of them. We could probably think of 20 of them if we put our heads together. So I think it's dangerous thinking of the one thing, but if I was going to go for the one thing, it'd be the one-to-one.
Yeah, no, I think like that's so effective though, isn't it? Because when you get invited personally by someone, it instantly makes you feel more wanted. And
isn't
you're
that,
like, oh, I want to go for them.
And isn't that weird? Yeah. Because what you've done is you've just said, who wants to come to my show on Facebook, or who wants to come to my show, as in, I'll give you a shout and do you want to come to my show? It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just one of them is lazy shit. One of them is I'm a lazy shit and I just want everyone to just I click my fingers and you do the thing I want you to do. I want you to buy an album, buy my album. I want you to come to my show, come to my show. Whereas if someone just goes, dude, I've got a new album, I've put my heart and soul into this, I need you to buy this. I really want you to buy it. Not only do I need you to buy it from a guilt point of view, but I think you're gonna like this. I'm really proud of it. I'm really excited. And I know you like my music because you follow me, and I think this will be something that will be in your car, or I think this will be in, you know, on your playlist. And, you know, I think you need to get this. I think that is a totally different message, even though it's exactly the same.
Yeah, and more people always respond than you think as well.